And in conclusion, because this will be the final thing that I say now in this part anyway, is this guy earlier this year had the audacity to make a video about me on his Twitter, destroying me and saying, you're still on level 1, right? You never left level 1. I'm way up here, rich and famous, and you're all the way down here, back at the beginning. You never passed the intro stage, right? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I'm never going to be. I don't aspire to be. For me, I'm happy where I am. All the thing I want to do is get to a point in my life where it's not like, oh my God, I'm afraid every week, paycheck to paycheck, what's going to happen, you know. And I feel like if I maintain the way I'm going and disaster doesn't keep striking, which is fucked up that it keeps doing, I think I'll get there eventually. I just have to be diligent. I have to put up with a lot of bullshit around me. But I think that I'll get there. You know what I'm saying? Okay?
All right, what's up, trolls and good Samaritans? I was watching the end of the DSP Keemstar reaction video the other day, and I heard that rant DSP went on at the end, and there was so much I wanted to break down about it, but I started thinking to myself, and it was going to end up being like an hour-long video, so I decided against it. But I heard him say the paycheck to paycheck line, and it gave me a good idea to see how many clips I could find where he's feigning distress and using that set of words exactly. And the results will shock you, by the way. I mean, not really, but who are we kidding here? So in the clip, he's claiming he's happy where he's at, he has a great family life, and he's proud to be at level 1, blah, blah, blah. Sure thing, buddy. But he also says that he's scared and worried because he's living paycheck to paycheck, and he just hopes that things will get better. He just needs your help for a little while longer. And, well, let's see how long he's actually been living paycheck to paycheck for, and let's see how much longer he's going to need that little bit of help from you. My guess would be eternity, but here's Phil to tell you more.
Now let's say, for example, let's say that by the end of this year, the streaming changes that I've made are in effect, right, for the long term. My income is more stable. It's better. Maybe I'm better now. I'm at the position where I'm not in bad financial straits where every month it's paycheck to paycheck per se to pay my bills, and maybe we've got a little bit of freedom financially. Then I would consider possibly getting a dog. You know what I mean? But anything that's left over, I put to my bank account and it pays my bills. I'm incredibly tight because you got to keep in mind, this is a household that was based off of 2 incomes. My ex-girlfriend, ex-fiance, was working a job and the money, was contributing. Now it's gone. So it's me paying everything now. And now the fact that YouTube did decline, I'm making less now than I was. And it's tough. I really am. I'm living, some people use the term paycheck to paycheck, all right? I'm living bank deposit to bank deposit. Because every month I'm nervous. Am I going to get enough money when I get my curse payment? Am I going to get enough money when I get my Twitch payment? When I withdraw the money from Patreon this month? Is it going to be enough to cover all the bills that are going to hit my bank account? And I'll be honest with you guys, real straight up honest. It didn't some months. Some months I was overdrawn, but luckily there was always another payment coming on the way. And I'll be honest, a lot of months you guys with your tips, some of the big tips that I got this year, saved my ass. There was one month in particular, I was going to be overdrawn, and I got like a $200 in tips in one day. I put it right into the bank account, and it covered it to like $20. And then I got paid the next day from one of the companies, and it cleared me, okay? So basically, everything's coming due here. End of January, I'm going to have a giant bill due. I don't even know what it's going to be, and I don't have the money. All right, just being real with you. I don't have the money because I should have, or I shouldn't. I would have prepared for it if I had even known I had owed it, but I didn't know that I owed it. And this year already, things have been so narrow and so tight for me, barely making ends due. Some months it's literally been working paycheck to paycheck here. My bank account overdrew several times this year. And, now all of a sudden, you're going to owe thousands of dollars in back taxes you never knew about because your tax attorney didn't do his job. Delightful, right?
So the first clip I could find of Paycheck to Paycheck goes back to April of 2017. And if you want to follow up on any of this or want to search for your own clips, the link to PigPigGo will be in the description. God bless whoever runs that site. Prayer hands for you, my friend. But he's saying that he can't get a dog because it would be financially irresponsible of him, and Rihanna, by the way. But he also makes sure to throw in the holy water of things might get better at the end of the year. He just has to keep on fighting, and you also need to keep on fighting and continue to help him. I mean, after all, it's your fault he's in the position that he's in, stupid trolls. Sound good? Fair enough. The second clip was from November of 2017, And that was the infamous Thanksgiving night video where he revealed that he had a secret play whore that he had been talking to and that she was his girlfriend. Despite living with another man across the country, he left that nugget of truth out for some reason though. I'm not sure why. But also in that clip, he says he's not living paycheck to paycheck. He's living bank deposit to bank deposit. Why does this guy have to be like this? You're not special, Dave. You don't need some slick way to say that you're broke. But I guess it helps him to feign distress and get his point across to the subhumans. He then says that his account was overdrafted, but thanks to the subhumans, he put their money into his account to pay bills, of course, and it covered everything by about $20. And then he got another payment the next day and blah, blah, blah. He listed off like 4 different sources of income in that clip. Patreon, Curse, Teespring, Tips. Do any of you have this many sources of income? Because if not, I don't know how you're paying your bills. The third clip was from December of 2017, and he talks about more times that his bank account was overdrafted that year. But he also brings up the boogeyman of back taxes. He conveniently doesn't know when they're due or how much he's going to owe. He just knows it's a lot. He doesn't have the money and he's living paycheck to paycheck. Gee, Phil, this sounds exactly like what you just said the other day during that Keemstar rant. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you've been running this scam for years. Next clip.
Starting tomorrow, June 1st, all of my bills for the month start coming due. In fact, I think there's like 2 tomorrow, then like 3 on the 2nd, like 3 on the 3rd, and then boom, 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 boom. And we're talking everything, all my bills, my utilities, credit cards, mortgages, everything. And so it drains my bank account. So tipping me right now would help me because I'd be able to take whatever you guys contribute and funnel it right in to help, pay those bills and make sure I don't overdraft. In particular, sadly, I am behind on money right now because I had to pay this giant lump of taxes last month. And now I'm basically, to the bone with money, like paycheck to paycheck, pay bill, the federal taxes, and then have a year to work on building my streams, making more money. Two things could happen. Number one, I might qualify for a refinance once my taxes are done for next year. We don't know yet. There's no way to know because they're not done. Once they're done, maybe I could go back and say, oh, now I qualify for the refinance, having the 2 years of history of this as being my level of income. All right. That's number one. Number two, I can just stay the course and keep, even if it means for 3 years my life sucks and I can't afford anything and I'm literally just going paycheck to paycheck, paying everything, minimum payments or whatever, just to keep floating until I can eventually do this refinance. I think I'm all right. But I'm basically just in a situation where I don't know what else I can do. Like, there's nothing certain to fix the problem. I can't declare bankruptcy because they'll say sell the house. I can't sell the house because I don't have the money to sufficiently sell the house. Most banks wouldn't even touch that. And, the refinance is something that I've wanted to do for years to get me out of the situation. Pay off all these fucking credit cards and get to a better credit rating and everything. It would help me tremendously, but I couldn't do it last year. I didn't qualify, Are they going to try to put me into a payment plan to slowly repay these taxes that I owe for years? Problem being, as you guys know, already financially, I'm in a situation where every month I'm paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, there's sometimes 1 to 2 weeks where I end up getting overdrawn on my bank account. Where's the money going to come from to pay this? I just, at this point, this sucks. And I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen. It sucks that, it really does suck that this is the situation I'm in. Worst case scenario, I may have to sell my house, and this is not an exaggeration. I'm basically now back to square one.
Back to square one. You mean level 1, you dumbass? Where you're so happy and where you claim you belong? I love it. So the first clip was from May of 2018, and this lying sack of shit says he has 2 bills due the next day, 3 bills due the day after that, and 3 more due the day after that. That's 8 fucking bills in a 3-day span, and we just started the month. Do you see how easily he just sits there and lies? And clips like that is why you should have been kicked off of Stream Elements. I don't give 2 fuck about the Nazi clip or most of the other shit he's done. It's the little things like that. He just memory holes them, or what are you talking about? I never said that. I just play games and have fun. But people like myself get demonetized from YouTube, and others that call this shit out get their channel deleted entirely. Makes no fucking sense. He ends the clip by saying he's like, quote, to the bone with money, paycheck to paycheck, pay bill, unquote. What do you even say, man? The second clip was from November of 2018, and I love that one. He thinks a refinance of the Wakanda is going to save everything, and he just has to grind it out until he can get there. Think about how much more debt that would have added on to this guy in the long term. But he doesn't give a fuck. He probably needed a third different variation of Zombie Hogan that night. But then he utters the line, "I can't declare bankruptcy because they'll say sell the house." Are you sure about that, Phil? Again, it almost seems like you're a lying, scummy, con artist piece of shit. But I'm glad you're not like that, Phil. It helps me sleep better at night, my good buddy. The third clip was from February of 2019, and we get more talk of payment plans, back taxes, and overdrafting his account. Do you remember how the video started? Remember this great life he has, how he's so happy, and if you stupid trolls didn't exist, he wouldn't have all these problems? Isn't it Shawn Michaels? Next clip.
Not only basically do I have like almost no money right now, but at the same time, this is the month where the federal government is expecting me to start paying back those back taxes that I didn't pay last year because I couldn't afford it. So it's like everything at once. And so I'm hoping that people will be motivated to come out and reminisce with me tomorrow on this great stream and contribute some tips, and hopefully this will at least alleviate a little bit of my burden this coming month, because, you know, living paycheck to paycheck and having my bank account overdrawn all the time sucks, and it's already been tight, and now we got something additional on top of that shit, and it's just like... Yeah, Sparrow Wink says he's getting in binds like that too. It's not a good way to live. It's really fucked up to be living paycheck to paycheck. You know, the thing is, I've been in this rut before in my life and got out of it, and was hoping I would never get back into it, and now I'm back into it again. And my credit is ruined, and there's nothing I can do about it. I just got to tough it out here. I got to, you know, stay the course, and hopefully things will get better in time. You know, I just got to have some positivity and hope, you know, hope for the best. La la la. Chonka, I'm not even going to read your ginormous paragraph. In essence, what he's saying is, could you do a giveaway just to prove that you're not greedy and that you want to give back to your fans? Chonga, you may not realize this. I used to do giveaways all the time. At one point, when I was making tons of money, I gave away a PlayStation 4 to a fan. I've given away video games to fans. I gave away tons of stuff to fans back when I could afford it. That was a long time ago. Now I can't even pay my fucking bills, you know, just being very honest. I can't. I'm in a situation that's horrible, and I'm, you know, living every month paycheck to paycheck that I get from Twitch, and it sucks. It's not a good way to live. It's not a good way to be.
So that clip was from September of 2019, and we get an appearance by a good Samaritan there that asks Phil if he can do a giveaway just to prove that he's not greedy. The Fuhrer states that he's done a bunch of giveaways in the past, and then comes up with a bunch of excuses on why he can't. Think about it, man. This lying sack of shit has probably 1,000 games and movies just sitting around that he doesn't ever use at that point. But he can't do a giveaway for fans that literally give him thousands of dollars. This is part of why you look the way you do, have all the problems that you do, and have the reputation that you do. Because you don't pay it forward. You don't lift a fucking finger to help anyone but yourself. But you damn sure need everyone else to pitch in and help you all the time. You get what you deserve, and that's karma, baby. Back to the first clip, which was from May of 2019. And what do you know? Back taxes are due again. And what else do you know? He doesn't have any money to pay him. This almost seems to be like a running theme in this comedy sitcom we're obviously watching, because this damn sure ain't real life. But he hopes that the subhumans will be motivated to come out and watch his marathon tomorrow. He also reminds them that it really sucks to live paycheck to paycheck and have your account overdrawn all the time. No, it doesn't. You said you have a great life and that you're happy and all that other bullshit, remember? You fucking cockroach. The third clip was from July of 2019, and would you imagine my shock when the Fuhrer himself said that it really blows living paycheck to paycheck, and that he really hopes that he'll get out of this little rut that he's in. He just needs your help and to stay positive. I've never heard that one before. The Fuhrer also stated he's gotten himself into this situation before and gotten himself out of it, but now he's back in it again. Do you see why this shit works on low IQ, stupid people, and then the vulnerable ones that just don't know any better, but think that they're helping this guy out who's just down on his luck? It's fucking sick, man. Next clip.
So, before we go into the next segment, which is going to be about the cheers recently, because we need to talk about those, here's the deal. This week, things are very, very tight for me. What does that mean? It means that this week, I'm in a situation where because of all those crazy chargebacks, all right, basically I'm going from zero. I have like no funds right now. Seriously, I have like nothing. I have money in the bank? I do. But that money's supposed to be there to pay bills. And if I spend that money on anything this week, there's potential that I might not have money to pay my bills. You see what I'm saying? I don't want that to happen. I've been in a situation this year, I haven't had to live paycheck to paycheck because you guys have been so supportive with things like the vestry. This is a unique situation where this guy screwed me over with so many chargebacks behind the scenes that were unexpected that now I'm in a situation where I have no money right now. Yeah, and you know, if I pride myself on that, I guess a lot of people will say, well, Phil, that's because you're a loser. You're a loser because you're not rich and you're not famous and you're not this and you're not that. And you had opportunity to be, but you blew it all. And I said, well, oh well, I'm proud of that. I guess I'm proud to be a loser, right? I'm proud to be a loser who can live with himself and say, at least I'm having a good time with my life, you know? And I think that's funny about that too, because you wonder, when you look at a lot of these people who seem to have it all, right? Do they really have it all? Because I'm the one sitting here with a married happily, meaningful relationship, meaningful life with a family, a house that I like. I'm in a living situation that's good, you know. The only thing I need to do basically is build my channel up a little bit bigger so that I don't have these financial constraints where, oh my God, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, which is how it feels a lot of the time, because of my financial burdens and responsibilities. But outside of that, everything else is good in my life. You know what I mean? So, and yes, quite frankly, I don't have the ability to pay for it myself. I'm being upfront and honest with all of you right now. I just don't. With the way that things have gone over the last year, every month, no exaggeration, is kind of like paycheck to paycheck. As tips come in, I pay bills. When I get my big payment from YouTube every month, that goes to bills. And really, I don't have a lot of freedom financially to do anything. But I already had, you know, the offers last year, and I basically had to tell people, let's hold off. I literally had 2 to 3 people contact me and said, we're very interested in helping you. And by the way, these were serious people. This wasn't like trolls. These were actually people who I know, who were like, hey, we want to help you out, you know, with a new setup. And I was like, we got to hold off. This just doesn't make sense. We got the hardcore gaming season of the fall coming up, and then we had the craziest early gaming season ever in gaming history, okay?
So the first clip was from October of 2020. And keep in mind, this is a month after the vest streak ended. That was $27,600 in tips alone during a 4 to 5 month span. Tips alone, not counting all his Twitch money and all his other sources of income. And by the way, I didn't include it in the clip, but he talked about large cheers that he had just received. I believe that was during the overpowered boon time. And if you were around then, you probably remember that. He got hundreds and probably over 1,000 in cheers alone from this one guy. Meaning he's got an extra fat check coming from Twitch in a month, but it's just not good enough. Because the crackhead needs his crack money, now. It's my money and I want the money. The second clip was from March 2022, and we get more into the recent times now. And in that clip, Phil calls himself a loser because he's not rich and famous. You know, it's always about money with this guy. That's the measuring stick for everything in his life, and that's just sad, man. But then he said he's proud of being a loser, and that he's having a good time with his life. Yeah, Phil, this video looks like a really good time so far. We then get the holy water again of he just needs to grow his channel a little bit more so he's not living paycheck to paycheck because of the, quote, financial burdens and responsibilities in his life, unquote. Now, I didn't decide until after the fact, which is why you haven't really heard me talk about the pictures yet, but I decided to use different pictures of his bank leaks, and as always, massive shout out to the homie Piece of Peace for the spreadsheet. I would say I love you, but I'm not bi. You know, sorry about that. Take your fantasies elsewhere, please. But I wanted to show you his financial burdens and responsibilities throughout this entire video. And again, it just illustrates 100% on why you should have been kicked from the Stream Elements. And why you deserve to be kicked from all these other websites. Because you lie, you feign distress, you chicken little, and you cry wolf. And you think you can just get away with it. But the good Samaritans all around the world are always watching. And as a very wise, very Wendy's-looking individual once said, consequences have actions, pimp. The third clip was from April of 2022, and he has to tell you that this is no lie, he's not exaggerating, and he's being honest with you, dear viewer. He says, quote, as tips come in, I pay bills. When I get my big payment from YouTube every month, that goes to bills. And really, I don't have a lot of freedom financially to do anything, unquote. Remember the clip from earlier where 3 bills are due every fucking day at the start of the month? And here's a question, DSP. Where's that second income going? If you're busy paying all these bills, where does her money go to? Where does the Patreon money go to? Where do the behind-the-scenes tips go to? And you know he's getting more of those now that Stream Elements kicked him to the curb. He then goes on to say that he had to tell people to hold off that offered to help buy him a computer. This is your job, and you have to rely on subhumans to buy all your toys for you. And just off the top of my head, those 2 subhumans were probably Planet Jeff and Pastryarchy. The 3-letter bitch is in there as well, but that doesn't even count as a subhuman at this point. I just remember covering those 2 in To Catch a Pay Pig, and they constantly asked Phil if they could help him buy a PC so he could play PC games. And what does Phil do every single time someone brings it up? Makes excuses for it. Just tell the truth, man. You're fucking lazy and you don't want to learn something new. Plus, he knows all the subhumans would be asking him to play different shit all the time. Obscure games that he wouldn't make any money off of. And that's a no-go for the Fuhrer. Next clip.
My long-term goals, of course, are to get financially back on my feet to a point where I'm back kind of where I was when I was on Twitch, because that is one of the things I didn't mention on today's pre-stream, but I'll just briefly gloss over it. I'm nowhere near as much profitability here on YouTube as I was on Twitch. With the amount of subs and the cheers that I had coming in on Twitch, they were way more than what I make on YouTube. Okay? I'm just being honest. So because of that, I'm making less, and making less, it's harder. Things are tougher. That's why some months I'm telling you how I'm like paycheck to paycheck to pay shit. It's not good. It's not a good feeling. I feel like long term, if we can build this up right here and have more consistent super chats and things coming in, I can get back to the level where I was on Twitch, because the tips have remained great. Tips are still great, but it's everything else that's declined, and I haven't caught up. Even in the year I've been here, it's a slow build, you know? So if I don't, I mean, again, all day, you may periodically notice me checking my phone, okay? Wondering what's going on. Is my phone okay? You know, is everything okay? Am I going to get paid? Right? I don't know. You know, I'm nervous about this. Genuinely, I'm nervous about this. So, no, I don't have. Yeah, someone just said, don't you have credit cards? No. 2 years ago, I declared bankruptcy. It was a little over 2 years ago now. I have no credit. I will not have credit for about another 5 to 7 years. That's how long it will take until someone will grant me any kind of credit. So, yeah, I live paycheck to paycheck on tips on streams and being paid by YouTube. That's literally how I make a living and how I pay for everything. So,
the first clip was from May of 2022, and just more talk of how his financial long-term goals are to get back on his feet. Same old shit. He talks about how he's not making as much money on YouTube as he was on Twitch. Keep in mind, this guy's been on YouTube for a year at this point, and he's still going on about how he's not making enough money here. Well, whose fault is that, dumbass? He talks about how if his memberships keep going up and his super chats keep going up, that he'll get back on his feet and be doing better financially. His members have nearly doubled since that video was recorded. He's getting a lot more super chats, now than he was then. And guess what? Nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing. The second clip was from June of 2022, and he says that all day, periodically, you might see him checking his phone, and wondering what's going on. And it's because he's worried and nervous that YouTube hasn't paid him yet. Phil, let me ask you a question. Do you think Keemstar is constantly checking his phone, and he's worried and nervous because YouTube hasn't paid him yet? That he won't be able to go out and get groceries and supplies for his pet because his YouTube check hasn't come in? The fact that you think you can rag on anybody else when you act like this is absolutely mind-blowing. But then again, I guess this is what level 1 looks like. Some subhuman in the chat then says, but Phil, don't you have credit? And then Phil starts to explain how credit and bankruptcy work. And by the way, call that idiot Timbo and give him some advice. He needs it, Phil. But what trips me out is the fact that DSP can look down at his chat and pick out the one question that helps him spin his narrative and essentially beg for money. It's just something that I always picked up on during To Catch a Pay Pig. How he would magically not see all the other questions or comments that don't have shit to do with the game or money. But as soon as he sees a money question, he can automatically sniff it out and turn it into a pity story and use it to beg. It's an incredible gift, Phil. Now, the next two are going to be the final clips, and then we'll wrap it up afterwards. Let's just see what we had got.
I know it sucks because we start having technical difficulties. I wish it was as easy as it used to be, because it used to be, oh, something's breaking. Well, I could just go ahead and put it on a credit card. Boom. And I have a new PC here right away, and I pay it off slowly. I don't have credit anymore. You know, I don't have that flexibility. Like I said, I'm living paycheck to paycheck as it is. So I just don't have that kind of power anymore to do that kind of stuff. You know, I got to do what I got. So it is what it is, guys. No sadness or negativity here. I'm happy with what I've got and what we're doing. But that's why when I run into technical difficulties and things, I just, you know, people, I don't understand. He's a full-time YouTuber. He's a streamer and he makes all this money. Why can't he just drop money and buy a new PC right now? Because there's no flexibility. There's no leeway here. It's like what I'm bringing in is immediately going to bills and or all the things I need to do, operating costs, you know, cost of living here. And the inflation has really hurt it in the last, you know, year in particular. And there's not much that can really, do much about it, you know. It's life. Okay? So, the good news is, if and when I get a chance to try to figure this out and say, oh, maybe I have a chance to go to a nice prominent game shop and bring all my games and see if I can get a good value for them, I may be able to do some fundraising selling off the classic games that have value. Maybe that'll be a significant amount towards, say, getting a new PC setup. But the question is if and when, and that's not an easily answerable question. All right? Because, again, I can't take the time away. I just can't. I can't right now. If I would love to take a day off right now. Listen to my throat. My throat's all screwed up. I would love to take the day off and say, oh, I'll just rest my throat. I'll be back tomorrow. I can't. I need to work today. I need to make money to pay bills. That's how it is. I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and that's my life. Okay? I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. I don't have that kind of freedom in my life right now. So eventually, yes, I will do something with these. I just can't right now. But I'll do my best to try to figure this out, you know, hopefully soon. Let me go put this back over there now.
The first clip is from July 2022, and Dave Bennett says he wishes that things are the way they used to be. When something breaks, he can just, quote, boom, put it on a credit card, unquote. This fucking idiot has learned nothing since his bankruptcy. If he thinks credit cards are the answer to anything, I don't even know what to say, man. He also throws in that he would then pay off the credit card slowly. No, you fucking wouldn't. That's why you went bankrupt in the first place. He has to do these mental gymnastics to convince himself he's such a good guy, and it was just an error or accident that he went bankrupt. Fuck out of here, man. He then does mock voice for some person that says, quote, oh, I can't understand how you're a full-time YouTuber, and you make all this money, and you can't just buy a new PC, unquote. He says it's because there's no flexibility, and that, quote, what I'm bringing in is immediately going to bills and or all the things I need to do, you know, operating costs, cost of living here, and the inflation has really hurt in the last year in particular, unquote. Yeah, Phil, I'm looking at these pictures going by, and you're right, buddy. WWE Champions inflation is really hitting us all hard right now. I don't know how you do it, man. I can barely afford to upgrade my 1-star Brooklyn Brawler to a 2-star bronze right now. Fuck out of my face with this bullshit. We then get to the last clip of the video, and old Philly boy says that he's hoping he can go somewhere and trade in all his old games and movies for a good return. And again, let me ask you a question, Phil. Since you seem to like my questions, do you think Keemstar is gathering up all his old games and DVDs and hoping that GameStop will give him more than 2 fucking pennies for each one? You know, somehow I don't think that's on his itinerary today. Also, didn't this fucking guy say that he took all his old movies and traded them in a while back for a good amount of cash? Now, maybe that was just movies specifically, and he's only talking about games here, but I could have sworn I remembered something like that after the bankruptcy. But he says he doesn't think he'll be able to do it anyway, because he can't take time away from quote-unquote work. You get what you deserve, man. If you would just give those games away to your fans or do some kind of charity of some sort, it would come back to you. You already get a bunch of charity from stupid-ass people that don't know any better, and you can't lift your fingers to do good for somebody else. It's fucking sickening. And like I said before in another video, and it fits so perfectly, the way you look on the outside matches what you look like on the inside. And that's your karma, Phil. That's your return in life. But I guess that's what level 1 looks like, and apparently you love it there, bitch. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. You know, that was kind of a throwback to the older ones I used to make. And speaking of throwbacks, TCAP will still be coming soon. I keep stalling and working on other stuff, but there will be a To Catch a Pay Pig Part 23. Mark my words, I'm coming for you. Let me give a couple of quick shout outs and then we'll wrap it up. For retro's sake, I linked some channels in the recommended part of my profile. You know, these are smaller channels that I really want to see grow if possible, and he's one of them. Please take a second if you can and drop these people a sub. You know, I'll start listing more as we go along, but I just dropped some there off the top of my head. But thank you, homie. I appreciate it. Shout out to Brian, who just said, keep up the good detective work. And, you know, I appreciate you always watching and commenting on the videos, Brian. Thank you, brother. Nick, who I'm not going to say their username because this is somebody who lurks in DSP's chat. And, you know, I'm not going to give away who they are. But thank you, man. I appreciate it. To my boy Platty, who was around from the start and said he's been away a while, but he's back in this. So appreciate you always watching and supporting, Platty. Thank you, brother. And then Elaine, who I always see in the comment section of other detractor videos, always supporting others like Raven, Shinko, King Jad. And they always just show up and show support and, you know, don't think we don't notice it. So thank you, Elaine. And then finally, Pacifico Slim, who just said he's been binging the videos and to keep exposing DSP. And as long as I can stand watching this garbage, I'm going to keep trying my best. Thank you, brother. You know, somebody's kind of starting to get that groove back, get that vibe back. But, you know, if I can put out more than a couple of videos and not get that feeling of, you know, man, I just don't want to bother with this trash anymore, then we'll see what happens. But I am determined to finish To Catch a Pay Pig no matter what. So I'll talk to y'all very soon. Thank you for riding with me. And as always, a fucking go.